Hello friends, welcome to Exampur. I hope my voice is audible clearly, screen is visible, all is set or not. Please do let me know. Just let me know about it so that I can proceed with this lecture. So before going further, I just want to let you know about the Exampur app. In that application, you will get to see a lot benefits out of the batches which has been launched with the perspective of many examinations you can go for. And for that being, you need to install the Exampur app by going through these six steps. You just have to get the link from the description box and get the registration for the same. Next is all about the topic for the day is all about the digital lending rules, which has we are trying to make the things digitalized in order to increase the accessibility in order to strengthen the inclusivity in the economy. First of all, how this topic is going to be helpful if we do talk about the pre and mains. These are going to be helpful from both the aspects. From the prelims objective, RBI, what kind of transformation things are being undertaken by the RBI and what kind of regulation coming under the RBI. Digital lending, what this is all about. We are going to study in detail what kind of pros and cons are there and challenges, what could be formed the way forward. Next is all about mains, concerns and issue related to the way I have just tell you that lending rates, related segment and related challenges we are talking about. So we have to discuss regarding the same and what kind of steps could be undertaken by the government in order to stabilize the situation of economy. Okay. So this is important with reference to the prelims point of view, and this is important from the subjective point of view that you have to write in the mains answer writing. So what is all about the RBI digital lending rule? In order to understand this, digital, just try to break the word to understand the thing. Digital lending rule. What we are talking about, we have made a kind of transformation in the rules and regulation. What kind of transformation has been accommodated, we have to discuss regarding the same, and why we have accommodated, why we have opted for such a new segment. We need to understand that in order to know the reason. Rule, what are rules? It is about the guidelines need to follow, and digital just to provide the access, just to increase the access, and lending, what you are giving, you are supplying your money, increasing the credit. Okay. Okay. So this is all set for with on behalf of this word. You just need to look at the segment, look at the topic by breaking the words so that you can just get a glance. We have to talk about which segment. Okay, then only we can make the preparation of the topic. If we are going for the accessibility by just with the medium of digitalization, we are opting for the digital technology by opting for more and more mobile penetration, which has given the accessibility to the people in hand that they can take the benefit of services, they can take the benefits of loan taking power. By how we are making the accessibility of lending in order to increase the credit, and increasing the credit which should be reachable to the higher segment. This is our objective. For that perspective, we have to form the new guidelines. Getting my point? I hope this is very much understood. What I am trying to say over here is, in order to increase the credit, whatever credit and whatever segment we are making the extension or the strengthening of, like I am providing the loan, or I am trying to make the expansion on in the loan base, which could become reachable to the people. This is my real motto, to make the reachability towards the people in the higher segment, and at least to the area which is unbanked in nature. And how I can make the establishment of all these things? By forming the new rules and regulation that we can call it as guidelines. So we have to make the guidelines specially for the credit provisions which are being formed in order to make the accessibility, in order to give the accessibility in the health. Okay, so this is all about why in news this is. RBI, if we do talk about, issued the detailed guideline. I have just told you about. This is the guideline we have formed for the digital lending. According to the digital loans we are taking with the help of phones only, with the help of devices we are using, credited directly to the bank loan of borrowers. If I am demanding loan from any bank, I can directly take it digitally without making interruption of any third person. And on the basis of what guidelines I am following such things, we have to discuss regarding the same. Things are becoming so accessible. If you have device, things are accessible. Things are getting simpler. Things are getting simpler, which is raising the, if the things are simpler enough and easy, that is going to make the increase in the accessibility criteria. Next is all about without making the interruption of third party. Okay. So next is all about first set of guidelines for the digital lending. This is the first time we are setting the guidelines for the digital lending. It is not necessary we are talking about the lending criteria that we have to make the expansion in the credit provisions. No, this is not like that. We are associating the word digital along with the lending. You have to segregate the word in order to understand the economy. What we are trying to do, we are trying to increase, we are trying to raise the inclusivity in the Indian economy. Getting my point? What we are trying to do? Guidelines which we are making the establishment of, that is coming into the picture for the first time, and we are making the association of the word digital with the lending. Okay? To crack down on illegal activity by certain players, like the people we are using into the procedure in the role of mediation. Like if I do want to take loan, I would require more and more people in order to get it settled. Obviously. So if I'm getting it done only through the digital media, only through the digital device, I would not require any third person to accommodate me and provide the credit provision. Okay. So next is all about working group on digital lending that had submitted its report. Like what we are talking about, working group, whosoever were working, obviously if you have to provide the guidelines, suppose I am giving you homework that you have to complete at least 10 topic in a day, and you are going to make schedule for those 10 topics. Obviously you need to work on those 10 topics, then only you can go for the test, then only you can go for the preparation check and balance procedure. In the same way, if they have been allotted the work of credit provisions you have to make on the digital basis, if we are making the association of the word digital with the lending criteria, which is happening for the first time. If this is happening for the first time, guidelines has to be transformed in way. If transformation has to take place, you need to think about working committee has to work, has already submitted that recently. So what is digital lending? We are talking about lending which is taking place on the web platform. Web platform, what do we mean by? The softwares we are using of the banks, many of the software, every bank do have their own software. With the help of those platform, with the help of your device in which you are going to make installation of these platforms, without any mobile penetration. Mobile penetration is only the signal, is only the medium of interconnectivity which is linking you with the digitalization era of the economy. You can imagine, the more penetration is taking place in the economy, more economical activities and interconnectivities are raising day by day. Okay, so taking the advantage of technology for authentication, if we are making the things on the basis of web platform, if we are making the things on the basis of web platform, things are standardized in way, norm should be same for all, standardized in way, things which you are obeying, I am doing the same. Okay, if same segments are there, same rules and regulations are there for you and me, then it is inculcating the transparency, and one should be the accountable for the same. It has to be there. Guidelines are being accommodated only due to that reason. Okay, these are the following characteristics if we do accommodate digitalization in any case of segment. Okay, next is all about banks have launched on independent digital lending platform to tap into the digital lending market by leveraging existing capacity in traditional lending. Okay, by giving the productivity expansion, like if you are making, if you have been given any task to perform, just to make improvise in such and such work, you are going to provide a particular layout. In the same way RBI has done so, they have prepared the guidelines on what basis they are going to make the strengthening the base of credit provisions, lending provisions on the web platform. They have just prepared their own independent lending platform, so that they can control that, and they can tap the performance, how the things are going on, where the things are lagging behind, on what basis we need to make improvements. So these are the this is the digital lending. What kind of significance we get to see? As I've already mentioned, with the help of word digital, if you are making a better understanding of the word, economical word, you can get a glance what kind of significance you could acquire out of the topic. Significance financial inclusion, what do we mean by that? You are trying to raise the accessibility. What do we mean by accessibility? Money should be in hand of everybody. Money should be reachable to even the unbanked area. Which were totally disconnected from the economical activities or the banking activity. We can make connection with those people with the help of mobile penetration. You just need to make the installation of the web connectivity. Next, financial inclusion. The people who do not used to be the part of the segment, now they are going to be the part once they are done with their device and web platform thing. Financial inclusion is the major criteria which is going to raise the resources taking power and allocating the resources in that way in a productive scale. Next is all about reducing the borrowing from the informal channels, like whatsoever a kind of in such segments, especially in area like this segment, which are already unbanked in nature, they have to make the take the borrowings from the landlords and such kind of informal, in the informal way, they had to make the accumulation of the resources. We have to just vanish out such segment. We have to just vanish out such kind of pointers. So in order to reduce the informal channel, we have to accommodate the digital lending, which could not be reachable in the physical way, but it could become reachable by the web medium. Okay, time saving. If you are not taking the help of any third person, you are just taking the help of your device and a web platform and getting it done by fulfilling the following applications which is required to do, following steps which are required to be accommodated. And digital lending platform have also been known to cut overheads cost by 30 to 50%. It is also cutting the cost. Not only important in case of saving time saving, but the cost cutting. Okay, so I just want to tell something about this batch. This is the Darshan batch. It is explaining about the 5 core subjects which should be studied with the perspective of UPSC. Second is all about topic-wise discussion would be there, topic-wise discussion, and related workbook would be given. And the person, person has to go through the many questions and answers. They will keep on the pace of doing revision sessions. If they face any kind of problem, they get to see Zoom meeting, and on the personalized basis, they would be assisted. Okay. So do not forget to go for this batch. Lots of special criteria you will get to see in the same. Next, challenges. What kind of challenges you are facing? The way significance you have told you, financial inclusion, time saving, and such kind of cost cutting things you are getting out of the segment. But what is all about the challenges? Growing number of unauthorized digital lending platform and mobile apps. They charge excessive rates of interest, additional hidden charges. Challenges is all about the platform which was already into the picture, but establishing the interest rate at a higher rate, an excessive rate of interest, and the additional hidden cost which are being charged by them. But there is nothing to worry about it. Things which are unauthorized, already unauthorized word is given in the challenges portion, which is making the negative effect on the people, and every person wants to go for the authorized segment just to ensure themselves that yes, if we are taking the loan that is from the authorized section, this is giving security to me, and I will go for the lending procedure through this media because this is authorized one. So need not to worry about it. And they adopted the unacceptable high-handed recovery method, misuse the agreement to access data on mobile phone. Like many kind of data privacy problem you might have seen many a times in newspaper. Like the data accumulation has been done. Data is acted as the fuel. You are taking the data nowadays as fuel. By accumulation the data, by Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, just giving you a glance what kind of requirement would be there on behalf of people. Getting my point? So this is all said. They are accessing your data with the help of a mobile. You might have seen many a times you are getting the clicks on your phone. They are asking for your ID, asking for your name, profession. These kind of details are being accumulated by the organization. By the accumulation of these data, they are accessing your account and try to take the advantage out of this segment. Okay. So challenges, and who comes under these new guidelines? New guidelines, who are coming under this? Banking regulator has categorically specified that lending business can only be carried out by entities regulated by RBI. Okay? Things, if you want a digital lending, if you want digital lending, if you want to take loan from bank, and that is for carrying out, that is to run the business, you need to have proper entity that should be affiliated or that should be regulated by the RBI. Proper check and balances should be as per the norms of RBI. If this is so, then you are liable to take loan from the digital media, from the digital guideline. Okay, so this is the basic characteristics. Those permitted under the law, whosoever is following, whosoever compliant enough to take the standards form, they are allowed to take the loans out of this segment. Central banks have divided the universe of digital lending. This is such a widespread, this is such a huge, a kind of open sea before you. You have to make the classification into the segment that how you are going to provide the provisions for credit. Okay, so first is all about entity regulated by the RBI. Basically, you have talked about the business. Written over here that if you want loan for the business criteria, need to be regulated by the RBI. What do we mean by need to be regulated by RBI? The norms which has been given into the curriculum, you have to follow that. If you are making compliance, then you would be going further for the lending processes. Next is all about entities authorized to carry out the lending according to other statutory regulatory provisions. Means it is not necessary coming under the RBI only. You are following the norms of RBI and taking the loan, it is not necessary, but it has to be regulated from somebody, from some organization which should be statutory in nature, but it is not necessary that should be under the RBI. Okay, third has to be accommodated by, because entire work cannot be accommodated only by the RBI. Okay, especially entity lending outside the preview of regulatory provision, that could also be, and some entities are also being registered which are not coming under the RBI plus under the like statutory provisions. Okay, so who are coming under? When we are talking about business, you need to come under the RBI category. RBI norms you are required to follow. Next is all about the statutory body. Even if your entity is following or being regulated by the statutory part, then it is okay, no worries about it. Third segment, some entities has to be there which are not coming, which are neither under the statutory nor under the RBI. So central bank regulatory framework is focused on digital lending ecosystem of regulatory entity and lending service provider engaged by them to extend various permissible credit facilitation services. Okay, regulatory framework focused on the digital lending ecosystem of regulated entities. They are trying to manage the things do not come under, like the things which are not coming under the new category can be considered formulating the appropriate rules and regulation so that various recommendation could be made out of the segment. Getting my point? Suppose regulation framework has been provided or nobody is coming under the guidelines. So appropriate rule would be prepared whosoever are not coming under the curriculum, whosoever not coming under the category. Appropriate rules and norms has to be prepared on the recommendation of working group, whichsoever are not coming in the any category. Next is all about what are the norms about, guidelines about. You need to look at third party inclusion. So central government said RBI regulated entities and apps or loan disbursed repayment are required to be executed only between bank and borrowers without making interference of the third party. I've already mentioned this in the first slide. Getting my point? If you are taking loan, if you are taking loan from the bank, you just have to use your device, application, web platform, and do not need to make the inclusion of any third party. And be fees charges specified lending entities, not the borrower, should pay fees and charges payable in the credit intermediation process. Okay, it is not necessary, not the borrower should pay the fees and charges for the same guide as per the guidelines. You are not required to pay intermediate cost if you are taking the loan on the same time. Next is all about the loan disclosure key fact statement. Should be aware, this is all about the information and the standardization format if things has been provided, which is transparent in nature. Accountability is there, both the things could be transparent in nature only if things are standardized in way, if you are following, if norms are same for everybody, if things are universal in way, then only it could become transparent, and things are liable to have accountability. Okay, so this is the same loan disclosure talking about inclusive cost of loan in form of annual percentage rate is required to be disclosed to the borrower. Okay, key fact statement. What do we mean by key fact statement? These are the notice, these are the standardized norms and statement related information related to the whatever standard formation you are required to accommodate the facility or amenity being provided by the RBI. Next, credit limit and publication with of the list cannot be automatically increased in credit limit without borrowers on record explicit consent. If things are getting extended, suppose 10 lakh loan I am taking or I have to raise the limit, it is going to take my consent as well in order to increase the credit limit. Obviously, if I am taking loan, consent has to be there if things are going up or down. Okay, in both the case, consent should be there from my side as well. Regulated entities publish the list of both the segment engaged and detail of the activities are being given. Grievances and redressal mechanism. Suppose if the things are given digital lending you are talking about, the main concern of anything related to digital, that is to make the things easier. Then second concern is all about, is it secure enough? If it is not, what would we do? We would complain. Complaint could only be made if things would be redressed. If things would be redressed. And if it would be heard, means firm is accountable enough. Firm is accountable enough. I hope you might have understood this. If things are digitalized, first concern of yours is this simpler or easy to understand? Yes. If this is so, then second concern of yours, we are making trade, we are making dealing, or we are taking loan. Is it secure? Security would be if you have taken the decision, suppose, without going through these two steps. Next, you would face the complaint. If you are facing any complaint, what if I am facing any complaint? How would it get settled? It has to be redressed by any authentic body. If it is going to be redressed, if it is going to be sorted, means authentication has to be displayed. Accountability is being given by the firm. Okay. So, integrated ombudsman scheme of RBI if their grievances was not resolved by bank within 30 days. So, ombudsman is meant for what? Redressal mechanism. Okay. So, government official, this could be asked in prelims, as I have given the glance. RBI and related information of ombudsman could be asked in prelims. It is important on that behalf. And following sector, what all are included under this, you should be known about that. Government officials deal with the complaint made by the ordinary people against the public organization. If I am facing any complaint against the organization, I can make complaint. And this concept has been raised from the Sweden. You can take. And it means the officer appointed by the legislator to handle the complaint. Whatsoever complaint we are having, we are going to get it settled with the help of this. Okay, and in the form of is appointed to resolve the grievances in the following sector: insurance ombudsman, income tax, banking ombudsman. So whatever things we are discussing right now related to the digital lending processor, so this has to be there under the banking ombudsman. It is related to insurance, it is related to banking and income tax. Okay, so you could be asked, ombudsman is related to what? They can give the fiscal ombudsman in whatever way they can give. You should be aware about these sectors. Ombudsman related to which area? Ombudsman is meant for specifically for the redressal mechanism. Okay, so insurance, income tax, banking. So, integrated ombudsman scheme amalgamates the banking ombudsman scheme 2006 and ombudsman scheme of digital transaction of 2019. We are just trying to make the accumulation, or we are trying to make the merger, amalgamate the three ombudsman scheme to make the thing simpler. More the number would be there of schemes, it is going to raise the complexity, as we are known about the fact. And before going further towards any new step, our first concern would be whether things are easier or not. In order to make the things easier, what you are required to do, you need to make the procedure easy. So this is coming under the legal mandates, how you can just make three schemes are combined under one pointer. Okay, unified, you are making the union of three schemes. Ombudsman scheme provides redressal the customer complaint. If I do have any complaint related to any banking financial company, I can just file complaint and get the thing sorted with the help of this ombudsman scheme. Okay, whether it be about bank, whether it be about financial intermediaries, any intermediaries I am talking about, it would be taken into the topic. It also includes non-scheduled. Note down this word. It also includes non-scheduled primary cooperative bank with deposit size of 50 crore and above. Okay, one nation, one ombudsman. I have already made you clear once related to the retail scheme I was talking about. At that time, ombudsman scheme get merged, or we were talking about one ombudsman, one nation. You would be heard digitally anytime, anywhere. There is a spreaded or expanded jurisdiction of ombudsman for the entire economy. What are these? Why are these guidelines being formed? Extension of the credit services. Though we were talking about what kind of significance is there with the help of digital lending, just to increase the base, increase the number of hands taking loan for starting the business, and making a shift from informal to formal sector. If they are taking loan from informal sector and would be able to make a shift towards the formal sector, this is our major criteria. So what is this is all about? Extension of the credit services. We are trying to expand the base of credit services. Suppose, first important point of significance, this is financial inclusion. What do you mean by financial inclusion? Earlier, 10 people used to take loan. Now it has to be taken by 15 people by expanding the base to the unbanked area, which used to take loan from informal sector. Make a shift of informal borrowing to formal one. How can you make a shift? How can you just make this shift? By making the things easy, and simpler. This is what you are trying to do. Unreasonable interest rate, there have been also by like making the thing. If you just want to increase the access, just try to make the things cheaper so that people would not think twice before taking the steps further. Okay, so this is the major concern. Digital lending app are charging exorbitant interest rate. They were committing frauds, and among others, we were required to have the authentic body in order to serve such kind of segment which is causing fraudulent practices, and in order to have such access, in order to prevent such fraudulence, we have to come up with the guidelines so that such sections could be prevented which are taking loan from the unauthorized sector and causing the fraudulent practices. Okay, so unreasonable interest rate being taken by the private or unauthorized web platform. What can be way forward? India is on the verge of digital lending revolution. Okay, on the verge of digital lending. What do we mean by this point? You need to understand it by segregating the words. Okay, digital lending, you are just trying to increase the inclusivity in the economy, whosoever taking the facility of loan, trying to make the expansion in that base. Lending is done responsibly can ensure the fruits of the revolution. Revolution in what sense? Number of people should be strengthened. Development plus the growth. If you are increasing the hands, two things are taking place simultaneously. If you are increasing the facility for number of hands which are expanding, means 15 people are taking loan instead of 10 people, means 15 people are taking loan instead of 10 people, means you have increased by 5 people having resources in their hand. Plus, they have upgraded. 5 people have taken the loan for some aspects. They are going to contribute in the economical activity, which is forming the growth. And 5 people has been increased. Like number has been increased by 5 number, making the establishment of development. Okay, digital lender proactive development. And commit to code of conduct outlines the principle of integrity, transparency. I've already told you about whatsoever digital lending related provisions we are opening up, guidelines being formed by the RBI working committee. It has to be very committed in a way so that transparency could be resulted, or it should be formed in such a way which is going to, obviously it is going to protect the consumer rights and all. This is obviously every policy has main criteria is to serve consumer with clear standardized disclosure and the grievance redressal. Apart from establishing technological safeguard and educating, training customers to spread the awareness, and our main criteria is to spread the awareness. And making the thing simpler as much as possible. Okay, so this is regarding the technological safeguard. We need to provide this surety to people. Whatever steps you are taking under the digital lending would be secured by the authentic organization. So, in a small glance, I'm going to just let you know what we are talking about. With the perspective of prelims, what is important? You need to know about the RBI, digital lending, and integrated ombudsman scheme. What do you mean by integrated ombudsman scheme? You have subsumed 3 ombudsman schemes into one nation, one ombudsman. And on what this is all about, from where this concept has come out, you need to know about it. What kind of rules and regulation are there on behalf of RBI? For mains, and what kind of concern you are taking into the consideration, and what kind of steps could be undertaken by the government in order to improve, in order to beat those challenges. So digital land, in order to understand the word digital, just to increase, our main motive just to increase the access. Wheresoever you are not looking the banks, wheresoever you are not finding banks, and area which are still unbanked, we can reach out these facility into their hands and make a shift from the informal facility to the formal one. This is our major criteria to increase the number of people taking the advantage out of the services being provided by the RBI. Plus lending. Lending is all about increasing the credit to the people. If we are increasing the credit, it is going to make contribution in the growth. Obviously, if you are taking loan, if you are taking resources from anybody, you have to make spending somewhere. Obviously, you are going to make the utilization somewhere. And access, if you are increasing the reach, if you are increasing the inclusivity, this is going to lead development. And how would you make so? How would you prepare this? With the help of new guidelines being formed for the digital lending, which is happening for the first time, for that guidelines being formed for the digital lending. Obviously, this is coming for the first time. So you have to keep this thing into mind. What is digital lending? Continuously, we are continuously talking about the digital lending. Whatsoever phone or devices you are using, just you have to use the web program, and web programs are going to be independent on the basis of banks you are integrated to. They are going to provide the facility of lending and get the matter sorted. Leverage whatever kind of loan, what kind of advantage, whatever kind of loan you require to take, you would get it happen without making the inclusion. What kind of benefit you get to see out of this? You are not making involvement of any third party over this segment. Okay, significance, what kind of significance? Like financial inclusion, I've already talked about, by raising the access. Second is all about, you just want to make a shift of informal channel. Suppose if things are unbanked in nature, areas which are unreachable, even if things are reachable but still unbanked, we have to reach out by providing the services to that segment and decrease the informal channel, and they could have the access of formal channel. Our main criteria is just to have the involvement of these people. Time saving, cost would be less as infrastructure cost is going down, plus time would be saved, and you are not making involvement of any person into the process. This is about the batch. Do not forget to purchase this batch, as many of the benefits incurring out of this. Challenges is all about growing the number of unorganized digital lending. People were moving towards the insecure part. Ultimately, who is going to face? Our economy is going to face those laws which has been conducted by the unauthorized segment. This is why new guidelines has to be there. Entities are being classified because every criteria regulation cannot be managed by RBI. Suppose if you are required to take loan, or if you have to take the loan for the business aspects, you can take it from a digital lending facility, but you need to have regulations by the RBI, need to make compliance with that aspect. It is not necessary that if you are not belonging to business, you just have to obey the certain criteria which has to be accommodated by other statutory organization. If you are doing so, you would avail the digital lending. Next is all about, even if you are not category any of them, you are not coming under any of them, then you can also take the privilege, but following entities are given under the preview. Next is all about regulatory framework is focused on digital lending ecosystem, and new guidelines which are not covering any category means they would be allotted appropriate rules on the basis of that. Third party, I have already told you about. Loan disclosure, key fact statements, standardized pattern would be there for digital. Obviously, man, if things are there on the basis of digitalization, it has to be on the basis of standard norm. Okay, everything which is going which is moving towards the digitalization criteria, it has to have standardized formats. Okay. So credit limit would be assured as per you. What kind of outlook you are showing towards deal with the fintech web platform. We are talking about taking the help of fintech. Financial means financial technical means modern technology, and plus our main object is to make the accessibility, is to raise the inclusivity. By adding the inclusivity, you can just strengthening the digital lending. Next is about integrated ombudsman. I have told you about ombudsman is all about hearing your complaints. Complaints would be sorted, and how many sectors are there you need to keep in mind. And integrated ombudsman, you have just subsumed all these. And cooperative, even this has been strengthened to the non-scheduled primary cooperative banks. Next is all about credit services, interest rates, and way forward is all about we are moving towards the accessibility, trying to raise the accessibility. Second is all about the standards norm. And third is all about the safeguard and security we are taking it. Okay. So these three are the major way forward we can take into the consideration. Okay. So do not forget to purchase this batch, as this is providing the access of many subjects, topic wise, timely, and many of the questions you will get to see in the workbook, which is making the revision in a very amazing way, and you can just hold a grip on that basis. So do not forget to purchase the batch. And I regularly my class being conducted from 9 to 10 and 12 to 1 for daily news analysis. Do not forget to attend this session as well, because daily news analysis is going to create comfort zone with the economic subject in UPSC. And comfort zone is very important because you need to have a grip on every single word of economics on that basis. Thank you so much. Have a great day to all of you.